Now at 9, we're tracking a pretty nasty line of thunderstorms rolling into the viewing area. I'll have those details.
Plus, how Joplin's Ozark Center is preparing for tomorrow's Drug Take Back Day.
Americans already pessimistic about the economy, receiving more troubling data on Friday with a new inflation report. I'm Mallory Rivera in Washington with details coming up.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Jordan Abby. Watching the possibility of severe storms working in tonight, we go straight to meteorologist Doug Heddy. Doug?
Yeah, we've been watching most of these storms west and northwest of the region over the past several hours, getting going. Tornado watch out until 10 p.m. on the Kansas side. New severe thunderstorm watch just to our north near Kansas City, and most likely something else will fill in here as we go into the evening hours. Most of us are fine. Most of us aren't going to see anything for several hours, and then it will really pick up. But you can see these nasty storms out across Greenwood County, just to the west of Woodson County. So from Eureka, just to the west of Yates Center, we do have a tornado warning. So this is going to work into western half of Woodson County as we go through the next few hours. Now looking, we have these discrete supercells here. So the one in Greenwood County, the one that has dropped a tornado on Andover, the east side of Wichita. And then behind that, we have the actual cold front. So this line is going to be a really nasty line as it starts to push in, but it's still about an hour and a half to 2 hours away. So a lot to talk about, and of course we'll get to that here in just a bit.
Doug, thank you as always. A second suspect is charged in a Newton County murder case. Authorities say 64-year-old Eddie Fisher helped his son Damon Fisher hide the body of Scotty Roller. Police say Damon Fisher shot and killed Roller after an argument about purchase of a vehicle. According to police, Eddie Fisher then helped Damon wrap Roller's body in a rug and dump it down a well on Eddie's property near Seneca. Eddie Fisher is charged in Jasper County with tampering with physical evidence. Damon is charged in Newton County with second-degree murder and armed criminal action. Well, Saturday is National Drug Take Back Day, and a number of local agencies are participating by having bins available to safely dispose of your old prescription medications. Officials at the Ozark Center strongly encourage everyone to check those medicine cabinets for those old prescriptions. KOAM's Chris Warner spoke with them about why it's so important.
The Ozark Center's New Directions facility in Joplin deals with issues regarding addiction and overdoses. Lisa Watson with the Ozark Center says events like this are essential to not only getting drugs off the streets, but keeping them out of the hands of area youth.
One of the biggest factors in determining if a person is going to develop an addiction later in life is early use. 70% of people who try substances at a young age go on to develop an addiction within 7 years.
Watson says they've seen an increase in overdoses in the area, but she says that's not just limited to those facing addiction issues, and there's a good reason you need to check your medicine cabinet Saturday and see what needs to be turned in.
But it's also important to remember, too, that changing the way that you take your medication, so if you're prescribed a certain medication and you change that, that also increases your chances of an overdose or a medical interaction. So if you have multiple medications around and you accidentally take it out of the wrong bottle, you're increasing your chances.
Watson says in order to keep those prescriptions off the streets, it's essential to take them to safe drop-off sites and not simply throw them away. She adds theft of prescription medications is also common, which is another good reason to turn in any unused bottles you may have.
Those are things that could absolutely entice someone to break into your car. So these are all about safety precautions. When we talk about harm reduction isn't just about the substances that are used. It's also about educating our community about techniques that we can use to protect each other.
In Joplin, Chris Warner, KOAM News.
If you're facing any addiction issues or know of someone who is, you're urged to contact the Ozark Center or the Urgent Behavioral Services Facility in Joplin. For more information on take-back sites in our area, go ahead and visit our website, KOAMnewsnow.com. Kansas Governor Laura Kelly has pledged to sign the bipartisan Axing the food tax bill. House lawmakers late last night nearly unanimously voting in favor of the measure, which would phase out the state's 6.5% sales tax on food over 3 years. The Senate approved the measure on Wednesday. When signed, the tax would first drop to 4% in January, then would fall by 2% every year until it hits zero in 2025. Carl Junction, Missouri hosted an event for the Southwest Missouri Regional Special Olympics. Athletes of all ages gathered to compete in a track and field day During the opening ceremony, students from the Carl Junction High School Philanthropic Club presented a check to the Special Olympics of Missouri for $15,000.
Athletics is important to lots of people. It helps you accept challenges and accept defeat, to win gracefully. There's all of the things that you would have you see on TV and sports, you see out here.
At that event, 17 area teams were represented by 335 athletes. Economic policymakers are in a pickle. The Federal Reserve is expected to raise interest rates next week to tamp down inflation, but doing so could also trigger a recession, potentially jeopardizing the re-election prospects of vulnerable lawmakers this November. Fox News correspondent Madeline Rivera explains from Washington.
Stocks took another dive Friday after Amazon shares plummeted on a disappointing earnings report. Another sign that investors are already rattled by an economy that may be on the ropes due to runaway inflation.
We've got too many dollars chasing too few goods.
On Friday, the government said a key inflation index, closely watched by the Federal Reserve, rose 6.6% over the past year, the fastest pace in 40 years. The report is fueling concerns that prices are rising as economic growth is slowing down. The 1.4% contraction in the first quarter happening despite a boost in consumer spending and business investment.
Our economists and our economic team continues to feel confident in the strength of the economy.
Although the White House is downplaying the possibilities of a recession, higher prices will likely put pressure on the Fed to start aggressively raising rates, increasing borrowing costs for mortgages, cars, and credit. Inflation putting Democrats in a tough spot before the midterms, despite House Speaker Nancy Pelosi's insistence that voters won't blame them, especially for the pain at the pump.
I think they're blaming the oil companies.
One thing growing faster than inflation, student loan debt. And Democrats on Capitol Hill are pushing the president to do something about it.
Hopefully he goes big and cancels all student loan debt, but at the very least cancel up to $50K.
Some economic experts warn canceling student debt will only make inflation worse, a key campaign promise of President Biden now in question. In Washington, Madeline Rivera, Fox News.
Even though a judge has temporarily blocked Title 42 from being lifted, the Biden administration is still making preparations for when the policy comes to an end. Republican lawmakers and some Democrats on Capitol Hill, for that matter, are calling for a change in course, though, either through legislation or through more funding to help Border Patrol agents as they deal with a surge of migrants crossing over illegally. Fox News correspondent Brian Innes has a closer look now from Eagle Pass, Texas.
Faces of Americans across this country dying because of fentanyl pouring into our country.
After 2 days of contentious hearings on Capitol Hill, DHS Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas made it clear that his department is expecting to see an increase in border crossings once Title 42 is lifted next month.
We will address this challenge successfully.
On Friday, President Biden spoke with Mexico's president about the situation at the border, including the migration response. This week, a federal judge in Louisiana temporarily blocked the Biden administration from ending the public health order and has set a hearing for the case for May 13th, 10 days before it was set to expire. The White House will comply with the order.
When Title 42 is lifted, it'll be 500,000 people in 5 weeks. I don't know, and they'll have no legal status, by the way. Biggest human trafficking event of our lifetime. What are we going to do with these people?
The issue has struck a divide among congressional Democrats. Some believe the administration does not have an adequate plan in place to deal with the surge, while others argue Title 42 should have never been used in the first place.
President Biden did the right thing to substitute something that is more effective at the border, to protect our border, and to respect our responsibility to welcome refugees.
A move on Title 42 could come from Congress if lawmakers are successful in including it in broader legislation meant for Ukraine aid. In Eagle Pass, Texas, Brian Yennis, Fox News.
KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14 takes this time now to honor another four-state hero. Billy Grevitt served in the U.S. Air Force stationed in Vietnam. He was a sharpshooter, earned several awards. We are proud to thank and salute Airman Second Class Billy Grevitt. He's tonight's four-state hero. Doug Heddy's next with a complete look at the forecast. Lots to talk about. Later, a Columbus junior smashes the school's high jump record in his first ever high school meet. Those details, of course, in sport.
Well, it turned out to be a pretty nice Friday after morning showers and thunderstorms. Now we're watching that severe threat ramping up. We have a severe thunderstorm watch to our north near Kansas City. And then our main line, still has a ways to go before it really gets into the region. But we do have a tornado watch in effect southeastern parts of Kansas. Most of us are fine. Most of us are going to be fine for the next several hours. Then things will start to go downhill as we go into the overnight hours. But you can see that watch does include Iola, Chanute, Parsons, Erie, down to Oswego, Independence, Fredonia, Neodesha, Yates Center, out toward Eureka. And you can see these storms really picking up in our northwestern counties. Kind of interesting. So what's going to happen here? We had a dry line out to the west. Now the cold front is overtaking that dry line. So we'll have a general switch over to pretty much bow echoes, very gusty winds of 60 to 70 miles per hour. Also, we're going to get some large hail out of these storms. We are going to have a tornado threat still sticking around on the Kansas side for about the next 3 to 4, maybe 5 hours. And then I think once most of these storms get into the metro, that tornado threat will start to drop. But something we got to watch. All right, tornado warning. This is Greenwood County. This is moving into the western half of Woodson County. Already you can see the storm pushing in, but the rotating part of the storm is still 10, 15 miles to the west of Woodson County. So we got to keep our eyes on that. Right behind it, we have another storm that has had the history of dropping a tornado, dropped a pretty decent sized tornado on the east side of Wichita. So these two storms, these are discrete supercells. These are going to push into western half of Woodson County. Now, what's interesting behind that, here's the cold front. So these storms are digging south and will continue a little bit. This whole line will kind of lean into the area, but this is going to be an intense line as it pushes in over the next few hours. So, I mean, areas really from Yates Center, Fredonia, Chanute, Iola, Parsons, Fort Scott. It's going to be kind of a loud, crazy night. And that's where we're going to get our biggest storms. And then this line will start to sink in to the entire metro area, mainly after about 1 or 2 o'clock. So enhanced risk for severe weather sticks around on the Kansas side. These storms will weaken a little bit once they get to that I-44 corridor. So that's why the threat for severe weather is a little bit lower. Let's watch this. Here's 11 p.m. You can see that main line pushing through Yates Center, Chanute, and these are intense, guys. Western parts of Montgomery County, here's 12:30 in the morning. We can continue. This line still pretty intense by about 2 o'clock in the morning. I do expect at least severe thunderstorm warnings. And then after 2 o'clock, they'll start to weaken a little bit as they push through Pittsburgh and Joplin and get into southwestern Missouri. So this here is 3:30 in the morning. Once we pass 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, I think our night is looking a lot better. From now until then, we definitely have some issues with storms, which are going to roll in. All right, outside, 74, southerly winds. It's booking at 28 miles per hour. Gusts have been higher than that. Once we get through all this mess tonight, things look much better for us by tomorrow. We're going to have partly sunny skies, lower 70s. In fact, the weekend looks fantastic. Unfortunately, severe threat returns on Monday, but we get a couple nice days in here. And of course, Nick and I, we're on top of it. We're going to be here for a good chunk of the night. So.
For the time being, though, you said it, intense.
Oh, they're super intense, yeah.
See you in a little bit. Thanks so much, Doug. Coming up, strengthening forces.
Russia escalates its attacks on Ukrainian cities as it presses its offensive in the east. I'm Greg Palcott in Lviv, Ukraine. That's my story. Coming up.
First, here's a look at our tower camera, sponsored by R.E. Smith Construction as work continues on the KOAM More Power project. Check it out anytime on our website, KOAMnewsnow.com/power. As Russia intensifies its attacks on Ukrainian cities and defensive lines, there are reports a former U.S. Marine was killed in the fighting. Fox News senior foreign affairs correspondent Greg Palcott has more now from Ukraine.
Another day of relentless Russian shelling and missile strikes hitting targets across Ukraine, including the capital Kyiv, where a major attack damaged a weapons facility and apartment buildings, just hours after President Zelensky met with UN Secretary General Guterres. Zelensky says the timing was not a coincidence.
This says a lot about Russia's true attitude towards global institutions, about attempts of Russian authorities to humiliate the UN and everything they represent.
Russian forces also pounding Ukrainian defensive lines in the east, part of an offensive to occupy the Donbass region and split the country in half. The Russians have taken some territory, but they're still looking for their first major breakthrough, with Ukrainian defenses holding on for now. On Friday, a former Marine was reportedly killed while fighting alongside the Ukrainians, marking the first combat death of an American citizen here.
It's brutality of the coldest and most depraved sort.
As the West rushes to get weapons to the front lines, President Biden is asking Congress for $20 billion for more military aid, including much-needed heavy artillery to stop the Russian advance.
They've made modest gains, but no serious penetration yet. And that is why these packages of artillery kills artillery.
The mayor of Mariupol says those weapons aren't enough. He's calling on NATO to start fighting alongside the Ukrainians. In Lviv, Ukraine, Greg Palkot, Fox News.
Still ahead, more concerns over an outbreak.
More states reporting possible cases of hepatitis in kids. I'm Alexis McAdams in New York. I'll have details coming up.
Public health officials are racing to understand why a growing number of children are developing hepatitis. The World Health Organization and CDC both issued warnings about the illness this month. Fox News correspondent Alexis McAdams has more.
Cases of unexplained hepatitis in children ticking upward, and in some cases causing severe liver damage. Health experts now scrambling to figure out a cause.
We then looked at all the different, top 10 causes for why this was happening. Couldn't recognize any of those top 10.
In Wisconsin, officials now investigating at least 4 possible cases of hepatitis. Around 5 other states are also reporting the illness, including Alabama, California, and Illinois. Doctors say some of these patients have sky-high liver numbers.
Normal liver numbers are around 35. These patients are coming in with levels over 3,000.
On Thursday, the World Health Organization said about 170 cases have been reported globally so far. That's up from about 75 cases in the UK 2 weeks ago. In 10% of these cases, children needed liver transplants. Health experts say no cause has been identified yet that would link all of these cases. British health officials add some of the patients have tested positive for a virus that causes the cold, along with other illnesses.
Some people think it might be an adenovirus, which is that, kind of common cold virus. But because kids have been not exposed to that, they're just not used to it.
Doctors now urging parents to look out for the symptoms like fever, fatigue, and loss of appetite.
I think parents shouldn't be overly concerned, but I do think that scientists should be looking very carefully at this.
CDC asking doctors to notify the agency of any suspected cases of pediatric hepatitis. In New York, Alexis McAdams, Fox News.
All right, so I like history. Many of you do too. How about this for a historic discovery? Weapons from the Revolutionary War era. Going to visit Savannah, Georgia next. A remarkable discovery in Georgia. Researchers believe they found a cache of Revolutionary War era cannons in the Savannah River. The cannons were found last year by dredging crews working on deepening the city's busy shipping channel. At first, archaeologists thought they were relics from a sunken Confederate gunship. I think even that would have been awesome. Further study, though, led experts to believe the cannons were likely almost a century older. They likely came off a British ship and sank during a siege leading up to the Revolutionary War. Researchers with the U.S. and British governments are now working to preserve the guns. You see them in water. They are being kept in water right there to prevent further deterioration until they can be fully cleaned. The plan is to one day display them for the public. That is so cool. All right, 30 more minutes, news, weather, and sports coming your way.
Pittsburgh's Art Walk is back and celebrating different artists in the community. I'm Bronte Sorotsky with those details.
The FDA facing growing pressure to approve vaccines for younger children. I'm David Lee Miller in New York. The details coming up.
Downtown Pittsburgh is highlighting local talent with a festival showcasing their work in a way that gives back to Kansas artists. KOAM's Bronte Sorotsky has more on the Pittsburgh Art Walk and how it helps artists continue to make an impact on the community.
If artists in Southeast Kansas had a Super Bowl, it would look like the Pittsburgh Art Walk.
I think every community should celebrate art because it's an important part of just the community.
And art is so important in Pittsburgh that the city hosted an event similar to a festival for artists to share their work with the community, something they aren't always given the chance to do.
This is kind of our Super Bowl. So we're allowing them to come out and sell their work and get to know the community and have people come up and they can buy their artwork or just get to know the artist.
For artists like Miranda Ballou, she knows firsthand the importance of having a creative outlet.
Because it's a form of expression, it's a way for people to express themselves, and it's just a good outlet for people.
Ballou, who makes handmade jewelry, says it was her own mother who inspired her to get involved in art in the first place.
My mom actually started it years ago, and so she kind of showed me how to start my jewelry making.
Krista Cunningham, president of the Pittsburgh Art Walk, says she wanted to hand the spotlight to talented artists in the community who don't always get that recognition.
Art invokes emotion, and it also demonstrates, or it just showcases talent, is what it does. There's so many talented people in this community, and they don't often get a chance to share that with others. And so allowing that to happen in our area is and create this event that is just fine arts focused, it just brings all sorts of awareness to the area and offers perspective.
And with a wide variety of art ranging from live music to jewelry, there was something there for everyone. In Pittsburgh, Bronte Sorotsky, KOAM News.
This is the first art walk of the year for Pittsburgh. The next one is going to be in September. 4-year-old Mason is going to Disney. Miami High School students put on fundraisers as part of Make-A-Wish Foundation with the help of the community. They raised $10,330 to help make Mason's wish come true. Now Mason has been fighting leukemia since he was 3 months old.
Being able to help other kids is just really big on my heart, and so Make-A-Wish has kind of stolen my heart away, and I definitely hope to work with them in the future.
Awesome job, guys. This is the 3rd year Make-A-Wish has worked with Miami High School. What a neat partnership. FDA facing growing pressure to approve COVID vaccines for the youngest children, and today the agency set a tentative timeline for when that could happen. Fox News correspondent David Lee Miller has more.
COVID-19 vaccines could be available for the youngest Americans this summer. Today, the FDA announced plans for its vaccine advisors to discuss shots for children under 5 years old. They'll aim to meet in June and analyze data from Pfizer and Moderna.
What FDA needs to do is they need to evaluate the vaccine carefully. They need to see if it's safe. They need to see if it's effective.
Some parents have expressed frustration over why the process has taken so long. Yesterday, Moderna asked the FDA to approve its vaccine for children under 6 years old, but the drug maker has to submit additional data to complete its application. Meanwhile, Pfizer is waiting on 3-dose clinical data for the youngest age group. Public health officials say the FDA can't evaluate the vaccines until applications are complete.
They really need to show that there's some clinical benefit to the children, hospitalizations, deaths, something that's clinically meaningful.
Meanwhile, federal regulators will meet at the end of June to discuss whether COVID vaccines should be redesigned to target virus mutations. Moderna and Pfizer are currently working on shots that target the Omicron variant. Health experts say this could be key to moving forward in the pandemic.
It's very difficult to really get a strong classical herd immunity when you have immunity that wanes and a virus that, in fact, does not stay stable.
The FDA also plans to consider a COVID vaccine from Novavax this summer. In New York, David Lee Miller, Fox News.
I'll be later, doing what they want regardless of what their ancestors may say.
Think you know your dog? Think again. I'm Marianne Rafferty with more on the results of a new study that says a dog's breed doesn't determine its personality. Coming up.
Well, it turned out to be a pretty good Friday for us today, but of course, showers, thunderstorms working into the area as we go through the overnight hours tonight. Still, tornado watch out for our western half in southeastern Kansas, and then a severe thunderstorm watch to our north. You can see the warnings lighting up in our far western part of the viewing area. These are tornado warnings. These are severe thunderstorm warnings as the main line is now going to start to advance into the region. Ahead of it, we've had these discrete supercells that have been tornadic, but very quickly behind it, the cold front is overtaking that. So as that occurs, we're going to switch from a tornado threat more to a hail and wind threat. We are still going to have a tornado threat, but the tornado threat is going to drop just a bit, which is definitely going to be good news. But these are going to be some nasty storms as they begin to push in just into northern parts of Woodson County. So here's Yates Center, just north of Yates Center. You can see how electric these storms are. And then we've been watching a tornado warning just on the west side of Greenwood County. But here's the front. This line of storms is about ready to overtake this, so that's going to squash this tornado warning, or at least an intense tornado, because there's been several pretty intense tornadoes just to our west. And then you can see the cold front as it extends off toward the southwest. So here's Wichita. So this line's going to kind of lean in over the next couple hours. So it will start affecting Woodson County, then Wilson County, Allen County, Neosho County, and then over into Bourbon County as well. So over the next couple hours, southeastern Kansas, you are really going to get into the action. The main threat is going to be large hail, gusty winds. We are going to continue with a tornado threat for about the next 3 or 4 hours, but that threat will start to decrease as we go into the overnight hours. But you can see the highest threat of severe weather in southeastern parts of Kansas. All right, let's go through time. Here's our future track. Look at this line starting to lean in. So here's 10:30, 11 o'clock. It's really only affecting our northern counties. Then this line will sink in. So here's midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning. These are still pretty nasty storms. Large hail, gusty winds, upwards of 70 miles per hour. Hail size could be 1 to 2 inches in diameter, and sometimes within these lines we get small little spin up tornadoes. So we are going to have that threat. Now, by the time these storms get to Pittsburgh and Joplin, they are going to weaken. They're still going to be pretty intense till about 2 o'clock in the morning. I think by this point we're going to be looking at strong storms, a random severe thunderstorm warning. After 2:30 or 3, we're going to be looking at mainly just strong storms. After about 4, just thunderstorms. So you can see the progression as these work southeast, these will weaken. So the highest percentage chance for severe weather is going to be in Nevada, Fort Scott, Girard, Parsons, Erie, Chanute, Iola, Yates Center, down toward Independence. So that's what we got to watch as we go through the next several hours as this line continues to work in. Now by morning, it's gone. Tomorrow looks pretty good. We're going to have partly sunny skies. You can get outside. You can enjoy it. 59 to start, 68 by noon, then a high temp of 73. Sunday looks great as well, 75. Thunderstorms back in on Monday. Also a severe weather shot moving into the region again.
Saturday and Sunday, perfect temperatures.
Yeah, can't beat it.
Okay, thank you so much. And thank you and Nick for staying up tonight. It's going to be a late night. We appreciate it. All right, coming up in sports, a Columbus High School junior making history in his first meet since junior high. Plus, Pitt State football partners with Kansas Special Olympics to host its annual Victory Day. Jacob Leonard has that and more next.
The Pittsburgh State Gorillas are playing their final series of the regular season this weekend, and it's a big one. The Gorillas are on the road against Washburn this weekend, trying to earn a top 4 seed in the conference and a home game to begin the conference tournament next week. Game 1 is tonight, and that one is over. Pittsburgh State rolls this evening 14-3. Austin Bonnell continues his hot streak, going 3 for 4 with 3 RBIs. With the win, the Gorillas have earned a home series to begin the MIAA tournament next week. Missouri Southern Baseball also begins their final series of the regular season tonight, hosting Missouri Western. Down 2-0 in the first, bases loaded for Ryan Doran. Drives it all the way to the fence out there. Nate Miskowski, Matt Miller, and Henry Kuziak all come home. Lions have their first lead of the night on the 3-run double. Later in the first, you know this kid, Tragan Parker with a man on, takes it up and out. 2-run jack for Parker. Lions get 6 in the bottom of the first. To the second now, Henry Kuziak's turn to go deep. This one clears the fence out in center field. All Southern tonight. They top Western in this one 10-3. Well, Pitt State football partners with Kansas Special Olympics to host its annual Victory Day event this afternoon at Kearney Smith Stadium. And more than 60 Special Olympics athletes got the Pitt State game day experience, complete with the gorilla walk and one-on-one time with the PSU players. Our own Danny Terzer gives us a look at the special day in Pittsburgh.
This is one of our favorite events every year. Today we call it Victory Day. It's just an opportunity to serve the local kids here.
Okay, I see you up top again. Down low. Oh, you gotta make it. There we go.
So pretty much today we just, letting them get active. We're gonna have fun and everything, and just let them score a touchdown to make them feel like a Pitt State gorilla.
My guy William, he's not really into football, but we were able to play catch, teach him how to throw a spiral, and we were able to interact over movies and superheroes. So it's not just about football; it's about just hanging out with them and just making sure that they have a good time.
So much fun to watch our guys interact with the kids, and I think it's just so beneficial on both sides. I think it's really important to give back, and they're blessed to have the opportunities that they get. And sometimes when you're working hard in the weight room or out here on the field, you forget about the blessings.
All right, here's the handoff to Rain. Wow, she going around the right side. Man, she is moving like lightning. Oh, look at that. Oh, boy, a touchdown for Rain over there.
It brings joy to my heart. They look at you like a big brother or a big sister.
Wrap it up, all right? All right, ready? Go.
It feels very nice to actually give back to the community. I'll do it any day of the week.
Now, the day ended with a full team photo at Kearney Smith Stadium. It's the second year the Gorillas have hosted the event. Now, finally, high school track and field today in southeast Kansas with Girard High School hosting its annual Girard Invitational. Now, here are a few early highlights. Girls pole vault. Pittsburgh's Michaela Keller wins the event, clearing 9 feet 6 inches this afternoon. Right behind her in second place, clearing 9 feet even, Galena's Blaze McNeamer. Now, in the girls long jump, Colgan's Allie Skripsic tied her PR, won the event with a mark of 15 feet 9.5 inches. Joey Hedinger from Carthage takes second at 15 feet 5 inches. But no doubt, this was the story of the day here. Columbus junior Colt Ungehauer, he literally pitched for the baseball team last night, and this is his first high school track meet ever. He won the high jump, clearing 6 feet 10 inches. That's a school record and the best in the state in all classes this season. Again, his first ever high school track meet.
Yeah, I didn't really expect to go that high. I practiced about 3 or 4 times. Never actually tried to go that high, so didn't really know what to expect, but it turned out pretty well. Been playing a lot of baseball lately and decided to come out and try it for the first time. Haven't done it since junior high, so it went well today. I think I can continue to get better if I just keep going at it and go to probably practice more than 3 or 4 times like I've been doing right now. So yeah, just keep getting better at it.
And that's it for sports. We're back with more news after this.
A new study is giving dog lovers a chance to better understand their furry friend's personality. Fox News correspondent Marianne Rafferty has more on why researchers say your dog's breed has very little to do with how they actually act.
Some dogs are chill.
Juven's really calm.
Others are more rambunctious.
Hope is a rescue mutt. She's a lot of different dogs. Personality-wise, super independent.
But no matter what kind of pooch you have, a new study published Thursday in the journal Science is putting a popular misconception about canines to rest, stating a dog's personality is not necessarily defined by what type of breed it is.
At the end of the day, every dog really is an individual.
Researchers from the University of Massachusetts Chan Medical School had more than 18,000 owners complete personality surveys about their dogs. They then took DNA samples from more than 2,000 different pups to analyze their genetic makeup.
We couldn't find any evidence that ancestry from any particular breed actually has an influence on things like whether dogs are reacting aggressively to things in their environment. And what that suggests to us is that that kind of facet of behavior is very shaped by a dog's environment and by their life experiences, and very little by their genetics.
In total, 128 separate breeds were involved in the study, and officials say only 9% of, quote, personality differences between pups were related to their breed. Instead of determining personality traits, the study found a dog's breed was a better indicator about its overall appearance, with researchers saying roughly 80% of a dog's physical appearance is determined from its genetics. Marianne Rafferty, Fox News.
Squirrel. Gonna learn about a birthday celebration for the Beach Boys, Hollywood Nation, coming your way. A celebration for the Beach Boys and a Mission Impossible announcement. Fox's Ashley Dvorkin has these stories and more in today's Hollywood Nation.
Dinos get ready to debut. Myers shows off his multitasking and surfs up in the Hollywood Nation. Hit the waves with the Beach Boys as the band announces a 60th anniversary year-long global celebration. Kicking off June 17th with a remastered and expanded edition of the greatest hits album Sounds of Summer, the very best of the Beach Boys. New music videos are also on the way, and the band has a documentary in the works, a tribute special, exhibitions, and events.
The end you've always feared.
According to Variety, at CinemaCon in Las Vegas, Paramount Pictures revealed Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1 will be the name of the Tom Cruise-led 7th installment of the franchise. In theaters July 14th, 2023.
Secret society of 5 men.
Netflix released a new trailer for The Pentaveret, starring Mike Myers in 8 roles alongside a cast which includes Ken Jeong, Keegan-Michael Key, and Debbie Mazar. The streamer also announced the 6-episode comedy series will include appearances by Rob Lowe and Maria Menounos, and features Jeremy Irons as narrator. The Pentaveret premieres May 5th.
Genetic power has now been unleashed.
And a new trailer for Jurassic World Dominion gives another look of epic proportions at the upcoming film, which reunites 2 generations of Jurassic cinema. The highly anticipated global adventure is in theaters June 10th.
What matters is what we do now.
In Hollywood, Ashley Dvorkin, Fox News.
Just when you thought the dinosaurs were dead. That's our time for tonight. Thanks for joining us. Going to leave you tonight with a video of a baby tree kangaroo at the Bronx Zoo. Have a great, safe weekend. Do this all again tomorrow. See you then.